When I first met Daniel, I thought he was everything I ever wanted. He was smart, confident, and knew how to make people laugh. He made me feel special, like I finally mattered. After years of being ignored by my family, that feeling meant everything to me. I fell for him fast. He said all the right things, and I believed them. I believed him. At the time, I didn't realize love could also come with control. I didn't see the warning signs. I just thought he was being protective. But slowly, things started to change, and not in good ways. At first, it was small. He'd make comments like, "You're lucky I'm here," or "You'd be lost without me." I thought he was joking, but then he started criticizing the way I dressed or talked. He didn't like when I spent time on my computer working. "That little business of yours won't go anywhere," he'd say. He wanted me to focus on him, not on building something of my own. I started doubting myself. Every decision I made felt wrong unless he approved of it. Slowly, I stopped doing the things I loved. I stopped believing in myself completely. I ran an online store from home. It wasn't huge, but it was mine. I sold digital art, website themes, and helped small businesses with their branding. I loved it. Creating things gave me purpose. But Daniel would call it playing around. He'd say real work meant earning a real salary. He didn't understand how much effort I put in, or how proud I was of what I built. The more I tried to explain, the less he listened. Eventually, I stopped trying. I'd wait until he was out to work, then quietly return to my passion. Hiding it from him, we got married. After 2 years, I thought maybe things would get better. Once we were officially together, I hoped he'd change, that the pressure would go away. Instead, it got worse. He started tracking my spending, asking who I was messaging, and showing up during my work calls. If I earned money, he'd say, "That's cute," and take it to pay bills. He made sure I felt small. Every single day, I wondered what happened to the man I loved. The truth is, he was always there. I just didn't want to see who he really was until it was too late. I began to feel trapped. Our home didn't feel like mine anymore. I stopped inviting friends over because he didn't like them. I stopped talking to my family because he said they were bad influences. My world got smaller until it was just me and him, and mostly just him. Every decision I made, I had to check with him. If I disagreed, he'd get angry, sometimes yelling, sometimes going silent for days. I kept hoping things would change, but nothing did. Deep down, I started asking myself questions I didn't want to answer. Was this love, or was this control? One day I saw an old photo of myself, smiling, holding my first sale from my online store. I didn't even recognize the girl in the picture. She looked happy, free. I stared at that photo for a long time. Something inside me shifted. I realized I missed me. I missed who I was before Daniel. I wanted her back. That same week, I started saving money quietly. I made a secret folder on my laptop, hiding my files and invoices. Every dollar I made went into a separate account he didn't know about. I didn't have a plan yet, but I would. The more I saved, the more I felt a spark coming back. I worked late at night, silently growing my business again. I stayed quiet, careful not to raise suspicion. Daniel still made his usual comments, still acted like I couldn't do anything without him. But something had changed inside me. I wasn't as scared anymore. I was still afraid of what he'd do if he found out, but I was more afraid of staying stuck. I kept telling myself, just a little longer, just a little more saved. One day I'll leave. One day I'll be free. That one day came faster than I thought. We had a fight, nothing new, but this time, something in me snapped. He called me useless. He said I'd never make it without him, and for the first time, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just looked at him and thought, "You're wrong." That night, I packed a small bag. I had already found a cheap studio apartment online and paid the deposit. I took my laptop, my documents, and some clothes. The next morning, when he left for work, I left too. I didn't leave a note. I just walked out. The first night in my new place, I cried, not because I missed him, but because I finally felt the fear leaving my body. I had been so scared for so long that I forgot what peace felt like. My studio was tiny, with peeling paint and loud neighbors, but it was mine. No one yelled at me. No one told me I was nothing. I set up my desk by the window and opened my laptop. I stared at the screen, took a deep breath, and started working. I wasn't just running from something. I was running to myself. The first few weeks were hard. Money was tight, and doubt still lived in my head. Sometimes I'd hear his voice in my mind, telling me I'd fail. But every time I got a new order, even a small one, I felt stronger. I started making enough to pay rent, then groceries, then a little extra. Slowly, I rebuilt my confidence. I even reconnected with an old friend who helped promote my store. I worked harder than I ever had. I wasn't rich, but I was proud. I was doing it on my own, and no one could take that away. Daniel started calling a few weeks later, first just once, then every day. At first, I ignored him. But one day, I picked up. He said he was worried. Asked why I left. I told him the truth. I left because I had to. I told him I wasn't coming back. He laughed and said I'd regret it, that I'd come crawling back. I hung up, and in that moment, I knew I never would. I blocked his number. I didn't need his approval or his doubt anymore. I had finally learned how to stand on my own. Over time, things got better. I upgraded my website, got more customers, and even started helping others with their businesses. I shared my story online, anonymously at first, and so many people related. It gave me strength. I wasn't alone. There were others like me, stuck in relationships that held them down. I began to feel like I had a voice again, like I had something to offer the world. I wasn't just surviving, I was growing, becoming, healing. And every single day, I woke up feeling more like that girl in the photo, the one who smiled with pride at her first sale. My family reached out too. At first, I ignored them. I wasn't ready. But then I answered one of my mom's texts. She apologized for not seeing the signs, for not listening. We had a long talk, many tears, many pauses, but it helped. I didn't need them to fix the past. I just needed them to see me now, to accept me as I am. Slowly the bridges began to rebuild. Not perfectly, but honestly, and for the first time in years, I felt seen. Not as someone's shadow, not as someone's failure, but as myself. And that meant everything. Sometimes I still have bad days. Healing isn't a straight path. There are nights I wake up scared, remembering the things he said. There are moments I still doubt myself. But then I look around, at my small but cozy apartment, my busy inbox, the thank you notes from customers, and I remind myself how far I've come. I remind myself that I didn't just survive. I succeeded. I did what he said I couldn't, and I did it alone. That's a kind of power no one can take away. That's a kind of freedom worth fighting for, even when it's hard. People often ask me, do you regret it, leaving him, starting over? And I say no, I regret not doing it sooner. I regret letting someone else decide my worth for so long. But I don't regret leaving. I don't regret choosing myself, because now I wake up every day knowing I can trust my own voice. I can build something out of nothing. I can fall down and get back up without needing someone to catch me. And that feeling, that belief in myself, is the greatest thing I've ever earned. It's better than love. It's freedom. So if you're where I was, afraid, unsure, stuck, I want you to know something. You are not weak. You are not useless. And you are not alone. The world may try to shrink you, but your light is still there. Don't let anyone convince you that you need them to survive. You don't. I didn't. I left, and I made it. You can too. You may not have a perfect plan. You may not feel ready, but the moment you choose yourself, that's the moment your life truly begins. I'm living proof of that, and I'll never go back.